Hello, welcome to the Opinionistics. I'm your host, Jeremy Alone, and we'll have hosts joining us eventually. So, introducing from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, Doug Lawrence.
Hello, hello.
Hello there. So, how you been?
Doing good, actually. Nice sunny day. Can't complain.
Fabulous. So, tell me what you do.
So I'm an international certified mentor. So I work with people to help them grow on a personal and professional basis. And I've expanded what that looks like to now include mental health, mental well-being, dealing with grief, which has the mental health component to it as well. And so I've been doing quite a bit of that lately. With the mentoring piece, I work with leadership teams to help them be better leaders. I work with entrepreneurs to help them move their business, their vision into a business and move that business forward. In fact, just this morning, I was on a call with one of my young entrepreneurs dealing with some situations that they wanted advice and guidance on. And so we were able to do that and help them move forward with their plan to be successful.
Fabulous. And how long you been doing that for?
Oh my gosh. Since officially full time, this is my job. 2009 is when I started.
Wow, incredible. And what's the weather like where you are right now? Oh, wait, you already said it was very sunny.
Yeah, it's 14 degrees Celsius and sunny right now. And I'm just going to take a little bit of a breeze blowing, but certainly not as bad as what we've had the last couple of weeks. So it's quite nice.
Hmm. Okay. Cool.
I,
What's your? Sorry. Go
I
on.
was just going to say I hopefully I have given you enough insights that I've tempted you to want to come either for a visit or to come and live here.
Hmm. I think you asking someone or is something. I think someone has beaten you to it.
What's
But yeah,
that?
I said someone has already beaten you to it.
Okay.
But yeah,
Too,
great country.
yeah.
So, what's your favorite thing about the area that you're living in right now?
It's days like today, I guess, that is probably the thing that means the most. I don't get outside much, so when it's like this, it's kind of nice because I work from home. So when I have a day where I've had days where I can actually go and drive to a park and spend a couple hours just walking around the park and that and seeing all of Mother Nature at her finest, and that I think that's the thing that sort of stands out for me the most. Um, and this time of the year too is the fall season, the harvest season. So you have all kinds of wonderful colors spread right across the land. So that's also very appealing to me as well.
Hmm. Fabulous. Would you rather speak all languages or talk to animals?
I'd like both to be greedy, but I guess if I have to choose one, I think I would be inclined to go for being able to speak to animals.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Fabulous. Okay, nice, fabulous. What what was the last funny video you've watched?
oh my goodness. You stumped me. I'm trying to think of something that because I've only been to a couple movies just recently and they weren't funny at all. So they were, you know, they were great movies. I'm glad that I went and watched, but definitely not of the funny category for sure.
Okay, fair enough. I could see that. Do you ever travel often?
The last trip, well, actually, that's not true. I was going to say the last international trip I took was we went to Portugal in 2019. There was 8 of us that went on that trip. And then more recently, I traveled to a place called Radium Hot Springs in the province of British Columbia. And that I went at the end of May, beginning of June for a week. And I used that as a sort of a kickstart to trying to get myself frame of mood to begin to write my next book, which I'm partway through writing. So I used, because Radium Hot Springs for a couple of reasons. Number one is right in the mountains. So it was absolutely breathtaking with the snow on the mountaintops. And it was sunny for most of the time that I was there. So it was good that way. But it was also, I'm a retired Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer. And it was my very, very first place that they sent me with my wife. So it was our first married couple posting over the course of my career. So that was the first place that we went as a couple. So it had a bit of nostalgic overtures to it, in addition to it being the place I was deeming this is where where the birth of my next book is actually going to be, and go from there.
All right then. And have you released any other books, or is this going to be your first book you've written?
No, I wrote The Gift of Mentoring, and it was published in 2014. And then I wrote and published You Are Not Alone, and it was published in this year in January of 2022. And it actually became a Amazon #1 bestseller. So I'm in the works now. I'm going to go on a limb here and say half to maybe 60% done my next book, and it's going to be called The Silent Pandemic, or at least that's certainly what I'm kind of leaning towards right now for a title, is The Silent Pandemic. And so they're connected, the books, because You Are Not Alone is mental health and mentoring. And then we talk about The Silent Pandemic, which right now there's quite a large portion of the book that I've sort of guided to talking about grief and how grief can impact your mental health. And because there's, when you think of it, there's been all the deaths that we've had with COVID, and, families have suffered as a result of losing loved ones who have come down with COVID. And, there was restrictions on visitation rights and all that sort of stuff. And so it truly is a pandemic of sorts. At least that's what I'm sort of saying. And then, you add on top of that, you have the number of people that die on a yearly basis from cancer. It too could be considered to be a pandemic as well. So I'm wanting to capture kind of both of those scenarios in the book, and talk a bit about what it can actually do to your mental health. And what's also, I guess, what's interesting is that the other book, You Are Not Alone, which, as I said, is a Amazon #1 bestseller. It's kind of comes from much the same sort of storyline, if you want to call it a storyline. I talk a lot about my time in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and post-traumatic stress, and then the loss of my wife in January of 2021. So, there's all those elements that are all kind of mixed to it. So I think both books are tied together, like I said earlier. So it for somebody who's interested in mental health and all of those things around the mental health picture, those are two books that would be worthwhile. And you can actually, if you're looking at things from a building a foundation, understanding mentoring, and that, you could actually get The Gift of Mentoring first, read that. That will give you an idea of the terms the concepts, the practices, and that of mentoring, of effective mentoring, and then you jump into you are not alone, and that takes you right into the heart of mentoring and mentoring in the mental health space.
Okay. I like it. That's nice. So where would you see yourself 20 years from now?
20 years, eh? Well, I'd be hoping at that stage that I have good health and that I'm still able to provide support and help to people that need it, because that's kind of my passion, I guess, or my calling is probably the better choice of words. So that's my calling, is to be able to help others. Number one, obviously, is to help them through dealing with their grief. Number two would be to, you know, for people that are struggling with mental health and mental well-being, to be able to be there to help them, and as well to be able to share that particular wisdom with others who can also then be in a better place to provide help to people that are in need of being given guidance, and in need of having somebody who will listen and hear rather than being judgmental and all those things that we hope people never will do, but they always do. So, yeah, I think, good health, families doing well. Those would be the primary things, I think, for me, rather, because for me right now, it's all about being able to support and help other people to, number one, be the best they can be, but just as importantly, that they're in a good place with their mental health, mental well-being.
Absolutely. If you had a song every time you enter the room, what song would it be?
Two young ladies, and I believe they're from the UK, they sing, or one of them does anyhow, they sing Hallelujah. And I used to think that I had somebody else that I thought did the most beautiful rendition of that song. And I actually believe these two young ladies, they do it justice.
Okay. I like it. What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote, as strange as it may seem, we can always pick quotes that are from other people. I have my own, and that's "You are not alone."
Yeah, I like it. Fabulous.
Well, and the beauty of it is it's my own quote. And, lots of times I've had people say, you should have some of your own quotes and put them in books and do all this sort of stuff. And okay, well, I guess we've done that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are you currently working on anything lately?
Well, I am working on my next book, The Silent Pandemic. So I'm working on that. I'm still actively. I have my own mentoring practice, so I'm working with entrepreneurs that are part of the Sir Richard Branson entrepreneur program in the Caribbean. So I work with, I think, what I count, I have 4 different entrepreneurs that I work with. I also work with the American Corporate Partners in the United States, helping military personnel transition from service life to civilian life. The person I was talking with this morning is an entrepreneur who is part of a program here in Canada where they provide mentoring as part of the overall package. And so I'm working with that individual, and then I've got some other folks that I'm working with, some under contract and some pro bono, but most of those are either one-on-ones or they're like, I work with a leadership team in one particular organization to help them with their leadership skills and abilities, and kind of just to be a sounding board, because a lot of these folks have got some great skills, they just don't know it yet. So we work with them, or I work with them to help them figure that part out. And then a lot of it too is my exploration of mentoring in the mental health space. I'm now getting people to come forward and say, I think I need your help. And the part that is probably of some significance is that I'm readily accessible, where there are professional help that they can turn to, the psychologists, psychiatrists, the counselors, the social workers, and that they're all tapped out. They don't have any time left to be able to see this, or if they do see the person, then it sometimes is as much as a month before they can get back to see them again. I can fill that void simply by being available and not prescribing or anything like that, but just being there to listen and hear what they're dealing with, and maybe, make a couple suggestions or something to help them think their way through dealing with what it is they're dealing with.
Yeah, I agree. What do you wish your phone could do?
What do I wish my phone could do?
Yeah.
Okay. It probably already does a lot that I don't know that it's capable of doing, but I think if it had the capacity to, and I know it can be done, but what I would like my phone to be able to do is to become sort of that extension of the artificial intelligence I would like to have, that I can, if I'm thinking about a certain situation, that I can go to my phone and ask it a question, which obviously it would go to artificial intelligence or whatever, but ask it a question and it would be in a place or in a position where it could actually respond or provide me, here are some options for you to think about. And I think if I had that, I'd be really excited about something like that.
Interesting. Excellent. If you had to bury a treasure chest, where would you hide it?
Well, now, if I told you, then you'd know where it is. But I would say, I've seen some really interesting locations when I was off on that trip to Radium Hot Springs. So I would look there. And there's also a park out here. It's called Palliser Regional Park in Saskatchewan, Canada. And there's some great places there that I would bury the chest there.
Okay. That's pretty cool. What food do you think is underrated or underappreciated?
Underrated or underappreciated? I would have to say a good barbecued steak, I don't think gets the kudos, the value that it could or should, I guess. And I kind of understand why people aren't maybe eating as much of it because of all the prices and everything else that's been going on. So but I still think it's probably underrated to a certain extent.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from. Interesting. What improved your life quality so much you wish you did it sooner?
I went through with a hypnotherapist. I went through a past life regression. And what that did for me was it kind of validated what I already knew, but it took me places that I hadn't really thought of. So, and what it's done for me now is when I think back to what the story or what the message was that I got from doing the past life regression, and then I fast forward to today, what it's done is it's validated that what I'm doing today by wanting to be in a place where I can help individuals with their mental health and mental well-being and just their overall personal and professional growth, that's in line with what was the 3 past lives that I got to observe while I was doing the past life regression.
Oh, okay. Nice. What is something that's hard to master, but it's definitely worth trying?
To do it effectively, I would have to say mentoring is hard to do, but is worth it once you've. And the big thing there is that, we need to understand that there's processes and concepts and all of those things that you need to understand and be able to put into practice if you're going to be an effective mentor. And if you're not, then you're doing so at your own risk, but also at the risk of the person that you're mentoring. So they're not getting that deeper, richer mentoring experience that they could if they were to have devoted everything that they could into helping you have a better understanding of the mentoring process.
Alrighty then. As a mentor, what do you think are the highs and the lows?
As a mentor, highs and lows. So the lows would be not making a connection with the person that you're mentoring and I had this happen where I was mentoring an individual and they excused themselves that they had to leave the room and they never came back. And they took off and they went someplace else because they just really didn't want to spend any time with me. So I get that. On the high, I've had it where I had a person that I was mentoring, and over a significant period of time, and they ended up getting married. And at their wedding reception, they came up to me, and I thanked them graciously for the invitation and all of that. And they said, "Well, we could not have imagined having our wedding without you being here."
Okay, I can see where you're coming from. If you could level up in life, just like in video games, what would you put your next skill point into?
I think it would definitely be mentoring related, but it would probably have a stronger element of mentor certification. So looking at it from certifying individuals as competent mentors, for lack of a better choice of words.
I like it. If you can only have one food condiment for the rest of your life, which do you choose?
Probably be ketchup.
All right then. Sounds good. Classic choice.
Yeah.
If you have your own talk show, who would you have on as your first guest?
And it's my show.
Yeah.
I would want my first guest would be Michelle Obama.
Oh, I like it. This is good. Any reason you would want to have Michelle Obama on?
Sorry, say again.
Sorry. Is there a reason you would want to have Michelle Obama on your talk show?
I would like to explore a lot of the things that she does because I see some similarities between what we do, but we're obviously sort of at two opposite ends of the spectrum so I would love to be able to tap into what she's doing and being able to put some of that into practice. And then, I'm the sort of person that I feel that the only way that I could advance what it is that I'm doing is if I were to be able to, say, get in front of or alongside of somebody like Michelle Obama, who, would hopefully have some guidance for me as to what I should be doing, perhaps doing next, or to rethink some things. But she would definitely be right at the top of my list.
Incredible. And what do you think, out of all of the things you've done in life, what do you think could have gone different if you had the choice to?
To do different, I would probably. Part of me says, so I retired from the RCMP at 25 years. Part of me says that, if you could do things differently, would you have stayed another 5, another 10 years and came away with a full pension? And I'm torn. I'm literally torn in 2 different directions because of that. And part of me says yes, and part of me says, are you nuts? So, and if it was the other thing that I would have done sooner would be to have started my mentoring, my official formal mentoring, probably about 10 years earlier.
Yeah, actually, that is good. Yeah, I like it. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you here, Doug, talking about your work as a international certified mentor, your work as a Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer, and everything mentor related. It's been amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Anytime. And until next time, stay opinionated.